Hi, my name is Zed Duarte, and today we are going to discuss the 7 most best tactics and techniques to learn and adapt anything very quickly. Hi, my name is Zed Duarte and I am an AI enthusiast. Today we will discuss the 7 most best techniques to learn anything very quickly. We will go by the 7 laws that I have created through the historical experiences and practices. So, in order to learn or adapt anything, the first law is to scrap the first principle, core principle of that object or of that skill or any book if we are going to learn it. I will take an example of Haversine distance formula. Now, the core principle is that it is a formula which is used to measure the distance between two objects. So when I am clear about the goal or about the core principle of that thing that I'm going to learn, it will become very easy for me myself to acknowledge or to learn that thing, because I am very clear about the core principles or about the basics of the stuff that I'm going to learn or adapt. Now, we are heading to the next step, because you know how and what is the working or what is the basics of that object or an element. We will suppose that we can make that thing again. So the second law is to recreate and rebuild the thing that you are going to learn. So because I know the working of the Haversine formula, it is so easy for me now to create a formula which will be exactly same to what is the working of the Haversine formula. So the second law comes upon that we have to recreate and rebuild that thing. If you remember, our parents and our teachers pressurized us to just write the thing that we have recently learned, and why this thing is embedded in our minds is because when we recreate, when we rewrite, when we rebuild anything, our brain remembers that thing. Obviously, when we will rebuild or recreate anything, our mind will automatically set that, okay, this is mine. The thing that I've created is my self innovation. So that innovation is very unlikely to be neglected or rejected through the mind recognition behavioral patterns. So that means that that thing will be very easily embedded in our brain, and we will just adapt that thing because we have recreated it by ourselves. Let's suppose I have made an airplane with the equipments or with different electronic objects. Now, because I have made that thing, I know more about that and I will take more interest in that object, and obviously I will remember it more because I have recreated and I have invested my brain, my time and my thinking and my creativity into that thing. As I just explained, we will remember it for many years. But not only remember it, but we will also understand the core principles, because in order to create anything, I have to just understand the working principles and the working of that object. So we have cleared 2 laws. First is to understand the core principle of the object, and in order to understand the core principle, we can use the first principle thinking of Elon Musk. So 2 laws are covered. Third law, as we have created that thing, as we have understood the core principles of that thing and rebuilt and recreated that thing, now it's a stage where we will use that thing, where we will apply that thing, because the thing is just ready to be implemented. So for example, if I have learned a formula which is a Haversine formula, I know it is a working distance formula. I have recreated a simple formula which does the same thing. Now it's time to test that formula, to apply that formula. There are 2 probabilities. One is that it will work and one it will not. If it will not work, that means that our core principles and basics are not clear yet. So we will jump and we will go back to the first principle, which was to acquire the core principle and the basics of the object of the element that we're going to learn. Now it's time to go upon the 5 law. This 5 law is optional. Like if you want to master any skill or master anything that you are going to learn or adapt, you can teach it. So yeah, the 5th law is to teach that thing. You have to clarify the first 4 laws, which is to understand the core principle, which are the basics, to recreate or rebuild that thing, and then to test it. And if the test clarifies and if the test could succeed, then that's mean we are ready to teach that thing. And in order to teach that thing, we have the knowledge, we should have the knowledge of what we are teaching or telling someone about anything, because obviously the questions can be raised. And when those questions will be raised in your mind or through any other person, that's mean that you're learning it and mastering it, because now not any one mind or not a single learning perspective is working, but now the thing that is working is like multiple brains, or like teaching perspective is now in the charge. So when you will teach anything, you will learn the sensitive areas, you will learn, and the spontaneous things that you haven't learned as a learning perspective, but you are now understanding those things, and you are now thinking about those things which haven't been taught in the learning process. Because you are teaching something, now you are the master of that thing. So congratulations, till now you have become a master of that skill. But there are some more bonus laws that we can use in order to take our mastery to super intelligent brilliance. So in order to do that, we will come up to 6th and 7th law. In order, if we suppose that, okay, if you say my mind is not good at this, like I have implemented the both laws, if it's 0.001 probability that you have used all these laws, but still you are suffering through learning anything, or still you are suffering to adapt any skill, that's mean that you can use the 6th and 7th law. If you remember, in your childhood, our teachers pressurized us. If we failed to understand, or if we failed to do our homework, in that case, teachers punished us. So that pressure that our mind has at a time, the thing that we learn through pressure, and the thing that we learn under pressure is we can just recall that thing, that thing was embedded in our mind that nothing else did before. Because our mind is trained like this, that we give when we give ourselves some challenges, some deadlines, or when we pressurize our mind, our brain works more, and in that case our brain will adapt and learn that thing very fastly. And obviously you will not waste your time in non I will say activity, not that activity which is not giving you any kind of advantage upon that thing that you are learning. You will not waste your time in these kind of activities. However, this technique can be used by an individual by himself giving him some deadlines and pressurizing him in order to learn or adapt any kind of skills that he want to. Now, because we have discussed the 6 skills, I will go upon the last skill, which is the 7th skill, and which is also so powerful in order to adapt any any lengthy skill, any lengthy book if you're going to learn it. This 7th skill is to use the sleep power, because our mind is trained in an order that it when you sleep, the mind recall or re-practice and reorder, restructurize all the things that have passed along the day. So that phase is very important. It is very important that the mind recalls the most fresh, I will say, most fresh data, and it should be the data of what you were learning before. So in order to do that, you can learn, or you can practice, re-practice the thing just before going to bed. So in order to learn that thing very carefully, when you will sleep doing that thing, or learning that thing, or listening to that thing, when you will wake up, you should recite, redo that same thing, that same skill. This way the brain will also remember, also practice the thing that you are going to do. So applying these 7 formulas, which is first to understand the core principle of that thing, to rebuild and recreate using those core principles that you have learned, then to test the recreation that you have done, then after the test you are eligible to summarize that in one line. I am sorry, I just skipped the summarizing in one line law. It is basically to just summarize the things that you are going to learn. You will summarize it in one line in order to teach that thing. When you will teach that thing, you will master it, and after that mastery you can pressurize yourself. And if the pressurizing is not still working, you can use the 7th law, which is the sleep law. That way you will learn and adapt that thing very carefully, very fast, and very basically you will just understand the basics, and you will understand that thing very sensitively, that you have not only learned and not only learned that skill or book, but now you have mastered it, and you have remembered that thing, and you have embedded that thing in your brain, that will never be forgotten again. I hope you have enjoyed this video. These 7 laws will be very helpful for us in our upcoming videos, which will be about AI, LLM, and according to artificial intelligence. So we will also discuss that how these techniques are used, or how we can use these things for the upcoming skills that we're going to learn together, and also how AI adapt these kind of learning skills. Beyond that, they are not humans, but the machines are also trained on some principles, and what principles are those, and how we can use those same principles in order to adapt everything like an AI. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. You will implement these 7 laws. Try it on a small thing, on a small skill, or on a small book. Share your experience in the comment down below. Thank you.